I've been nervous all day about saying your name. Welcome to the Block Party. My name is Seth Kushner, and today I am joined by the first woman ever to play in the NHL, Manon Rhéaume. Did I botch that? I'm so sorry.
Oh, absolutely.
I
It's
botched
Manon Rhéaume.
Manon Rhéaume.
Manon Rhéaume.
Oh man. Can I tell you what? I've been watching your YouTube videos all day, so I didn't botch your name because I've been saying it perfectly all week because I've been very nervous about it. I've been saying it perfectly, walking around the house saying it. My wife's like, "What are you saying?" I told her, and then I had a meeting. It ended right now. I came right in here and I was like, I'm going to totally mess it up. I'm so sorry.
Oh, don't worry about it.
I was
I'm so used to that. Usually it's me in English, which I try to say some word that doesn't sound like it. So it's okay.
Well, I probably picked a bad interview to scout you on because I watched your old David Letterman interview. What was that like for you? He seemed incredibly awkward.
You know, the funny thing about that, it's at that time, I didn't know who David Letterman was. I was from Quebec. I grew up in a French family with no English TV. So I didn't even know who he was. So when they asked me to go on that show, I didn't make a big deal out of it. And it's not until later in life, like maybe 10 years later, living in the States, seeing who was going on his show. And I'm like, I cannot believe I was on his show.
How nervous were you when you were on there?
Like I said, I was not really nervous because I thought it was just another show. So, and I know my English was not very good. So I know he was making fun of my English and I was okay with it. And I was just, I'm just glad that I made it through the entire interview. And then back then I thought after I was done, I did a great job in English. And after that, maybe like 15, 20 years later, I watched it again. And even myself, I couldn't even understand what I say. So my English was really bad.
Tell me what your first conversation was like with Phil Esposito.
It was back during the NHL draft. During the summer after I played junior, I took a job with RDS, a TV station. And my first assignment was the NHL draft. And all I was doing is go pick up a player in the stand to bring him for an interview. And that's when Phil Esposito saw me and met me and talked to me about if I was interested to come to camp because he saw a video of me playing. And at first I didn't know if he was serious. And then he said, you have 2 weeks to answer. And if you want to come, you need to respond within 2 weeks. And sure enough, I got the letter in the mail that invite me to camp.
Did you think it was a joke until you actually got the letter in the mail?
Not I didn't think it was a joke when he mentioned it. I thought like, I can tell he was serious about wanted to invite me, but you know, I thought maybe he wanted to invite me, but he had to make sure that everybody else was okay to have me on board. So that's why I was waiting to see if it was going to be real, the letter.
Now, you obviously, there were so many other things you were thinking about when that was going on, but looking back on it, when Phil asked you to come down here and play, did you put any thought into if hockey in Tampa Bay would actually ever work?
I was not even thinking about that, truthfully. Like for me, just getting that invite, it was a big deal. You know, so many times when I was younger, people said no to me because I was a girl and I had to take a different path and I didn't get the chance to play 4 years of major junior because it took longer for a coach to really give me a chance. So when I got invited, I remember a lot of people said to me, are you not afraid to embarrass yourself? You don't have the experience and the guys has. But I told myself, you know what? I don't want to live my life with regrets. And I'm giving this amazing opportunity to go play at the highest level. And I'm going to go for it. And at the end of the day, I need to perform out there.
So how fortunate do you feel to actually have met Phil that day and to, you know, have him extend that offer to you in person?
You know, I feel like everything in life, it's all about timing, you know, being at the right moment, at the right time. And not be afraid to put yourself out of your comfort zone and taking risk. And I think that's what I did. And it was just being at the right place and got an opportunity and went for it.
You know, you're obviously part of this incredible franchise's history. So you weren't thinking about it at the time, but now what's it like to see hockey flourishing in Tampa Bay?
I have to say it's absolutely amazing because way back when I went to camp, people didn't really know what hockey was. They knew what hockey was, but they didn't know the rules. You know, they were not aware. They were just fans of the new team. No, I think, you know, I would say a few years ago during the Stanley Cup playoff, I went to Tampa and I went and watched a game. And I was just, first of all, amazed with this amazing building. by the river there, and all Tampa Bay in the community, like everyone had a t-shirt with a Tampa Bay Lightning, the bars, the restaurant, a poster and signs, and just to see the support of the team and talking to people. They were knowledgeable of the game. Like back then, when I went to camp, I think they were just fan of the team. Now they're a fan of the game, which is a big difference. And I think the Tampa Bay Lightning has been doing an amazing job in the community and really grow the sports. In the last few years, I took an all girls team to a girls tournament in Tampa.
Oh.
And it was really cool to know that we're here in Michigan and I'm taking a girls team to a big girls tournament in Tampa. And even there, just seeing the girls hockey program starting to grow there, it was great to see.
It's really growing with boys, girls. I mean, hockey is just exploding right here in Tampa Bay. How many times did you watch your debut with the Lightning? Is that, you said you went back and watched your David Letterman interview. How much do you watch that debut?
You know what? The funny thing is I have not watched it for the longest time. The only thing, it's once in a while people would show clips of, the first few save I made. And I remember getting scored twice on. And the first goal, I felt like back then when it happened, that was not necessarily the best goal. And I thought the shot was from far out. The second goal was a great goal. So Brendan Shannon, surprising that
Nothing
he
wrong with
can
that.
score. That's not a bad person to.
I'd save the puck if he scored on me.
But then about 20 years later, someone did a program on me and talking about that first time. And I saw the first goal for the first time. And literally, it was Jeff Brown, and he entered the zone, and it was really on top of the circle, took a slap shot. And then I look, I'm like, for 20 years, I was mad of thinking it was so far out, but that was a great shot from top of the circle. So it took me 20 years to feel better about my first goal.
Oh, that's so good that you were. I thought you were going to beat yourself up over it, but you felt better. Now, at the time, did you feel like you were doing something so monumental, or were you just so laser focused on the task at hand?
No, I didn't realize, I didn't know what to expect when I went to Tampa. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know that I would have so much media attention. I didn't even know that my story would inspire people after that. So I remember even showing up there, and the lady at the front said, "Oh, this is the mail for you." And I'm like, "What mail?" And she's like, "This is fan mail." I'm like, "What's fan mail?" She's like, "People are writing you from all over the world." So I'm like, "Really?" And I just started getting hundreds and hundreds of mail per day. And then, I went to camp, and it took years after that when people come up to me and said, "You're such an inspiration for my daughter," or "My son did a project on you at school," or even someone like Mike McKenna. He played in the NHL. He now is doing TV for the Vegas Golden Knights. And I remember he interviewed me a couple years ago, and he said, "When I saw you going to the NHL camp, it inspired me. I told myself, if a woman can do it, I can do it too." So it was really cool to know that my story inspired different people to go after their dream.
When you're going through that fan mail back in the day, did you get any marriage proposals or anything weird like people do on social media these days, or it was all just very nice, inspirational type messages?
I had all kind of stuff going on. I had someone that's mailed me a ring made with paper clips. I had people sending me picture of them. The best one, it's when they send me a picture of them and they said, "I look really bad on that picture, but I'm way better in person. So I would like to meet you." And it was just so funny. Then I had people that was really very amazing, a story or letters. So, and I have to tell you, my mom is absolutely amazing. My mom kept every single one of those letters, and she bought a bunch of binder and put them all one by one with a plastic and everything. And the coolest thing, it's a couple years ago when I took an all girls team to the Quebec Pee Wee tournament. I had them come to my house, and one of our team building was, "You're going to go through all those letters, and the one that's find the funniest or an inspiring letter or something like that." So that was part of my team building. And for them, it was really, really cool to see how people felt about what I did and make them understand too what I did, because those girls right now, they were not born when it had happened. Obviously, they can read about me, but to have a different perspective of the whole situation, they thought it was really cool.
Tell me some of the amazing hockey people that you've met along your journey.
Oh, so many people. Like it's hard for me to name one or two or three because there's so many people. But I think that when I did all that, I didn't even know how NHL player would react to my story. And I had to say, every single NHL player that I met along the way after, they just had good things to say about what I did. That it was amazing that I was able to do this. And I look back now, I'm thinking any guys that going to NHL training camp and either make the team or not making the team, it's a big deal for them. So they're probably thinking, how in the world a girl were able to do that too? Because obviously I was probably the total opposite of what an NHL goalie should look like. My size, I was a female, I barely speak any English, but I didn't let that stop me, and I went for it. And so I think that's probably one of the coolest things, to see the reaction. And I have to say too, one of my favorite interview that I did, it was with Terry Crisp. 20 years after that moment, he's in Nashville doing the radio there. And he said to me that at first he was not too happy to see a woman in camp. But he said, you finished in the top 3 of the goaltender after a mini tournament, and you deserve to play that game. And that's something that people didn't talk about. And for me to hear that 20 years later, after it happened, from the coach, that at first he was not happy with having a girl there, that was probably one of the coolest interview I did.
Yeah, but you got to know that even though Chris wasn't happy, Espo shut that down real fast and said, this is going to happen.
And Phil, I have to say, I stayed in touch with Phil. When my children book came out, I signed a book and thanking him for giving me this amazing opportunity. And that, obviously it changed my life, but I was able to inspire young people with my story. And that, to me, it's probably the most satisfying part of everything I did.
And, I got to talk to Phil, because I don't think Phil at the time was thinking about inspiring either. We know that Phil was looking to get as much publicity on the team as possible, but, Phil helped, make history as well. So
I think he's been great for the Tampa Bay Lightning franchise, like everything, like you're really promoting the game. And you want people in the stand. He wanted the people in Florida to be fan of the game, not just of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And that's important. That's more than just being fan of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I think that's what you have in Tampa now.
Who was just over the top welcoming to you, when you were playing that night?
That first night, like it was, it went so fast. Like the memory of that night, like I had a few moments that I remember. I remember like being on the bus and my stomach like being really like, like what am I getting into almost? But I remember getting into the rink and I had my own locker room. And as soon as I walked in, I saw this big, huge bouquet of flower. And I went and read the card. And there was a radio station from Montreal that says, good luck tonight. You're not alone. We're all behind you. We're supporting you. And that was really cool right before, because, you didn't know how many people were for, against, or you always hear some of the media talking. And I tried to block all of it, but to know that a lot of people were cheering for me that night, it was amazing. And I also remember that walk from my locker room to the ice. Like to this day, if I think about it, I can relive it. I felt like my heart was beating so hard that it would come out of my chest. But the cool thing is, as soon as I stepped on the ice, the butterfly went away and I was just playing a hockey game. I kind of blocked out that was an NHL game, and I was just playing a game. And we start right away with a penalty, which I still to this day cannot say it right. Penalty. I'm trying.
I'm not judging you at all.
But I remember I was thinking to myself, seriously, we're starting like on a PK, but it was probably the best thing because I got a few shots right away, got me into the game. And that period went so fast. Like it just went so fast. And it was probably like that moment, that feeling after that period, at that point, nobody could say, she didn't do what she was supposed to do that game. And I was really proud of that.
Did you save anything do you have your pads, mask? Like, what do you have from that game?
I still have my mask and it's right there behind me.
There you go. Yes. Not the pads though, right?
You know what? I don't even know where the pads are. But I still have my mask from that game. And it's just And you don't think at that moment to save those things. Like I was young, and like again, I didn't realize really like the impact or how big of a deal what I was doing. I was just playing the game that I grew up with, that I love to do.
So I had no idea. Tell me about the children's book that you wrote.
I didn't write it. Angie
Oh,
Blair will write it. She's an amazing writer. She actually, this is the book, Breaking the Ice.
okay.
And actually, Angie met me about 5 years ago, and she's a producer. She's also an actress, and she writes a movie script. And she wanted to do our next movie. She wanted to do a female lead, a sports movie, and inspiring people. And apparently, her dad said, "Oh yeah, in the 90s they had all those women playing in the NHL." So she's like, "I should look up for the first one and do something about the first one." And then she realized it was only one person, and she kind of looked like me. And she's like getting really excited about the project. So she contacted me, and when she said to me she wants to do a movie to inspire people, I said, "Okay, I'm on board." And along the way, she's also a children's book writer. So she said, and she got to know me very well. She spent time with my parents. She even by herself with my parents for 2 weeks. So she found out things that I didn't even know about myself or when I was younger, like how people reacted to my story. So she had so much knowledge of my story, and she decided to make it in a children's book. Which it's been so great to see that and to be able to use that book and inspire the next generation of young people. And it's truly to tell kids, if you have a dream and you work really, really hard at it and you're passionate about it, you can, accomplish anything you put your mind to. And you don't need to look like like to fit a mold of what you should look like. And it doesn't matter your gender, your color. If you like something, go for it.
Do you feel like there's been a resurgence of interest in your story now?
Oh, absolutely. I would say the last 5 years, my story has so much more meaningful to it than back in 92. And even the way the story is portrayed today versus in 92, like in 92, nobody talked about the performance I had in camp to deserve to start that first game, that exhibition game. Everybody talked about, oh, a girl, Phil wanted to make sure that we're talking about the Lightning and the publicity thing. And today, people are more talking about she had to perform in camp to start an exhibition game. Phil Esposito or the Tampa Bay Lightning, nobody would have put me in an exhibition game if I didn't have a great camp. And I remember that first time I stepped on the ice, we started right away with the mini tournament. And I did not allow any goal in 14 shots. I was the only goalie that game that did not allow any goal. And the rest of that mini tournament, I finished the third best goals against average and save percentage. So, but those people that back then people were not talking about that. And I think that's the biggest difference between now. Like they're more talking about my performance that gave me the chance to start a game versus promoting the Tampa Bay Lightning.
I have a daughter and she's almost 4 years old and she's learning to skate now and she's doing well. And I have her a little hockey stick and we play hockey in the street. So should I try to push her to being, how do I know if she's a goalie or not? Will she just let me know down the road?
Oh, she'll let you know down the road. And, trust me, from me, don't push her to be a goalie. It's the worst thing to be the parents of a goalie. So I have two sons. One is a goalie and one is a player. And I remember the first big game my son had to play. It was a state playoff final. And I woke up in the morning and I had butterfly in my stomach. And my son was about 11-year-old back then, 12. And I picked up the phone and I called my mom and I said, "Mom, I just had a question for you." I said, "Dylan's playing the state final today. Is it normal that I woke up with butterfly in my stomach?" And my mom said to me, "It's payback time." So I realized what I put her through all those years, and it's not fun to be the mother of a goalie.
Is it the stress of like the winning or losing, or is it you're afraid that he's getting hurt by the pucks? Is it everything?
No, it's more like the pressure of a goaltender. Like that's something that I absolutely love when I play the game, like the pressure that you're under, that a goalie can really make a difference in a game. A goalie can win you a game and can also lose you a game. Where a player, if you make a mistake, you have someone else that can make up for it. The goalie can make up for it. In goalies, it's different, especially as you get older. Like when you get to with the national team, my son played 2 years with the U.S. development program, and now he's in college. And goalie has to be great all the time if they want to play another game. Where a player, you can have a bad shift, and maybe you're going to be dropping line 2, line 3, but you're still going to have a chance to make it back. So the pressure of a goalie to be good at all time is so there. And as a parent, when you cannot control something and it's your kids going through this, it's really hard. Like I always say, when I go see, I'm always excited to go see both my boys play. When I watch Dylan, like it's not a fun game for me. And when I watch Dakota, like I can actually enjoy the game.
Okay, well, I'm telling my daughter when she gets home from school today
Stay
that
away from the
I got enough anxiety in my life. Manon, I just screwed it up. I'm not even going to try to do it. Listen, I appreciate you joining me. You're a great part of Lightning history. Thank you for everything that you've done for the Lightning and for women and for really what you've said. Anybody who wanted to be a hockey player or anything, I appreciate you taking the time, and I look forward to chatting with you again down the road.
Thanks for having me.